actually have been the perfect weight class for me. But anyway, I saw myself, I was like, they're the lifters that you love watching the most. And it just felt like the right move for me. But I'm not going to lie and say that there wasn't blips along the way. Your body changes, your clothes, as you said, you know, gym clothes aren't cheap, like leggings, sports bras, all that stuff. And seeing your body change can be tough. But I fell in love with powerlifting because of how it made me feel, not how it made me look. That kind of came as an after fact. So yeah, I've had blips along the way. I thought about, will I just go back to 63? Will I just cut back down again and have more muscle now? But I think this weekend really 100% solidified for me that this is the right weight class for me, and I'm happy here, and I feel strong here. But yeah, it's tough, and it has its highs and its lows. You come into the gym someday and your training's going amazing. You're like, oh my God, going up the weight class is the best decision ever. And then some days you have crap training days and you're like, why did I do that? I've put on more weight and I'm not moving weight better. So it is tough, but I think because I made the proactive choice to do it rather than being kind of forced to do it by a bad experience with weight cutting, that it's certainly been a bit easier for me.
Well, I know Kim mentioned on her podcast, I think the great thing is you've decided to do it and you're doing it like over a period of time. Like you're letting the process happen itself and growing into the weight class.
Yeah.
Whereas Kim mentioned when she made the decision to move up, she literally just ate like shit for 6 weeks and was like, what the fuck am I doing? And she started working with Katrina Connolly then. So it's like sometimes I think that's something that affects us all. Like you get caught up in the emotions of the moment and it can have a spiral effect. Whereas if we were all just robots and you just input the data, it would be much easier.
Yeah.
But unfortunately we're not. But that raises a really good point. And naturally as a female competitor in the sport, do you think that would be something a lot of the girls might suffer where they could potentially grow if they went up a weight class, but just that like fear because they're identifying so much as a 47 or 52 or 57?
I think you'll probably agree with me that it's shifting away from that.
Yeah, and for the better. Yeah.
For the better. In female sport in general, if you look across all sports, things like running, things like gymnastics, there's unfortunately this really bad mindset that you need to be lighter to be better. I don't think that translates to powerlifting. We're lucky in a way that people understand that if you're heavier, mass moves mass. But it kind of proliferates female sport in general. And unfortunately, female sport, we're still held to a standard of how we look way more than males are, no matter what sport you do. And that plays into things. But I do think it's shifting in the right direction for people, you know, understanding that you don't have to hold yourself to a certain weight class and make that your identity. As I said to you, people can get overly focused on being a good 63 kilo lifter when they should just focus on being a good power lifter. And whatever it takes to get there, it should be what you're willing to do. But we're moving away from that now. I think especially for, you know, junior and sub-junior lifters, unless you're, you know, representing your country, or fighting for medals, you shouldn't be cutting weight. And that's my opinion in general, to be honest with you, is that cutting weight, you should only do it if it increases your competitiveness. And nationals last year, I remember looking, as you said, I did 365 at 63. If I had competed in 69s that year, I would have placed the exact same. So I was like, why am I cutting?
Yeah.
It's not actually giving me any benefit. It hasn't increased my competitiveness. And I feel, I've spoken about this before, that weight cutting has become nearly like this rite of passage in powerlifting, that people feel like if they're not doing a weight cut, they're not like competing properly, or you should be doing a weight cut no matter where you are. You should just focus on doing what's the best decision for you at the time, especially if cutting starts to damage your physical health and your mental health and leave you with a bad taste in your mouth about powerlifting.